Today we're going to be doing Unit 4, Lesson 4, Equations in Ordered Pairs on pages 102 and 103. Let's do a little bit of review. We know that we have a coordinate plane with a y-axis that goes up and down, and we've got a x-axis that goes left or right or horizontal. We also know that when we have ordered pairs, we can find out where it's located on the chart. An ordered pairs contains an x and a y location. So for example, if it was 3, comma 5, what I know is we would start at the center, right? That's rule number 1. And then because it's a positive 3, we're going to go to the right. That's rule number 2, go right or left. And then I see it's also positive 5, so we're going to climb 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this is our dot. If we had two negative numbers, for example, negative 2 and negative 4, we're going to start at the origin, or 0. We're going to count to the left 2, and then we're going to count down 4. And I know that this is the origin point, I'm sorry, the ordered pair point for this one. Today, we're going to be analyzing how equations can be used to find an ordered pair, or the x and y coordinates. To do that, we're going to be substituting in numbers in for the x to figure out what the y is equal to. What do I mean by this? Let's explore further. Here we see a 3-column chart. In the upper middle space we have our equation y equals x minus 3, and the next step is to rewrite x in the upper left hand corner and y in the upper right hand corner. We're going to be doing that each and every time. Next, what we're going to be doing is we're going to be writing numbers in, and we're going to be writing negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3 on the left column. These are the numbers that we're going to be using to substitute in for this x. The next step is to rewrite this equation. So what I'm going to do is, instead of x minus 3, I'm going to write open parentheses minus 3. Because what we're going to do is we're going to plug in negative 1. What I like to do is rewrite the equation replacing x with open parentheses all the way down. That way I don't get confused, because it's pretty easy to get confused. Alright, again, I see that we've got this equation. We're plugging in the x into the open parentheses. So I know that in this next row, we're going to plug in a 0, and then a 1, and then a 2, and then a 3. Sometimes these equations can get a little bit tricky, so what you're going to want to do is use your calculator to help you out. So when we're looking at it, and I can now know that we're going to simply do the math. Negative 1 minus 3 is what? It's negative 4. What's 0 minus 3? Negative 3. I'm looking at this and I'm just going straight across, right? So I'm taking the 1, plugging there. What's 1 minus 3? 1 minus 3 is negative 2. 2 minus 3 is what? It's negative 1. And then 3 minus 3 is 0. Alright. So now we've got quite a bit numbers. We've got a lot to work with. I'm going to shift over a coordinate plane, but first let's take a look at what our new ordered pairs are. So I can see that we've got the x column and the y column. What I'm now going to do is do open parentheses, negative 1, comma, negative 4, right? That makes sense. I'm going to do, for the next column, open parentheses, 0, comma, negative 3, close parentheses, open parentheses, 1, comma, negative 2. And then we've got just two more. We've got open parentheses, 2, negative 1, and then 3, comma, 0. So we've got 5 sets of ordered pairs, and what we're going to do now is chart this on our graph over here on our coordinate plane. So let's take a look at this coordinate plane. Let's make it a little bit bigger, and let's see what this is going to look like. So I know that we always start at the origin point, and I can see that it's negative 1 to the left, and then we're going to go down 4. So when I'm looking at this first one right here, it's negative 1 and then down 4, so our first dot is going to be right there. Let's look at the second one. It's 0, negative 3. So we're not moving at all, right, because we're not going left to right. But we are, however, going to go down 3 spots. Great, so it's going to be right there. Let's look at the next one. It's 1, negative 2. So we're going to be going 1 to the right, and then down 2. And I'm starting to see a pattern emerge. I see it's 2, negative 1. So we're going to go to the right 2, because see it's a positive 2. We're going to go right 2, and then down 1, because it's negative 1. Great. And now I see we've got 3, comma 0. We're going to be going to the right 3, right? It's rule number 2. And then we're not moving at all. Great. And so when we do that, we just used an equation, y equals x minus 3, plugged in values, and then found coordinate pairs to chart this on a coordinate plane. Let's explore another equation. Y equals 3 times x plus 1. Let's see if we can apply the same method we did before to find out what the ordered pairs would be so we can plot it on a coordinate axis. Like before, we're always going to have to rewrite the equation in the upper middle column. So I'm going to write y equals 3 times x minus 1, close parentheses. I know that in the upper left-hand corner, we're going to put the x, and then in the upper right-hand corner, we're going to put the y, which is kind of like the answer, the sort of the solution to this equation. Next, we're going to be using the same numbers over and over and over again to substitute for x. It's going to be negative 1, 0, 1, 2, and then 3. And then we're going to rewrite this equation, and we're going to be using the same trick that I did a second ago. So what I'm going to do is rewrite 3, open parentheses again for the x, minus 1. So I'm going to be doing this over and over again. I know that I am eventually going to plug in a negative 1 there, but to keep it sort of on track, I'm just going to go like this. The reason we're doing 2, it looks like there's 2 open parentheses, is because we always do an open parentheses for a variable. And in this case, it just happens to be right next to a parentheses. So I know that we're going to then plug in 0, right? So we're taking these numbers right here, we're throwing them right in, and I can see that the 1 is going to go right here, and then 2, and then 3. Great. Now I know that we always do what's inside the parentheses first. So I'm looking at this right here, and I can see it's negative 1 minus 1. And negative 1 minus 1 is negative 2. And then because these are in a parentheses, right here, we're going to be multiplying negative 2 by 3. And negative 2 times 3 is negative 6. Here we've got another one. 0 minus 1 is negative 1. And negative 1 times 3 is negative 3. Here we have 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Negative 1 times 3 is 0. My fault. 1 minus 1 is 0. 0 times 3 is 3. Sorry about that. Here we have 2 minus 1 is what? 1. 1 times 3 is positive 3. And then, again, we have 3 minus 1 is what? 2. And then 2 times 3 is 6. All right, so again, I see a pattern emerging. So this looks great. Next, we need to shift over a little bit, and we're going to figure out what our ordered pairs are. Shift this over. And so our first ordered pair is what? It's going to be, open parentheses, negative 1 and negative 6. And then we have 0, negative 3. Next we have 1, 0, 2, 3. And then finally, again, we're taking these numbers right here and combining them with these, just sort of shifting it over. And the last one is 3 and 6. So I'm going to do 3, 6. Great. So let's shift over a little bit more, and let's start plotting these on the coordinate plane. I know that when we're looking at the first one, negative 1 and negative 6, we're going to start at 0. We're going to go over 1 to the left and down 6. And when we do that, we got a dot right there. I know that we have 0 and negative 3. So we're not going to move at all to the left or the right. We're simply going to go down. I know that our next one is 1, 0, so we're going to move 1 to the right. But then we're not going up or down at all. Our next one is 2 and 3, so we're going to go 2 to the right, and then up 3. And again, a pattern is emerging. And then finally, we have 3 and 6. So I'm going to do, start at the origin point. I'm going to go over 3, 1, 2, 3, and then up 6. And when we do that, great. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you're going to work on the equations to create ordered pairs on pages 102 and especially 103. If you have any questions, please let me know. Good luck.